Born on October 25, 1953 in Jamestown, New York, to Charles and Mabel Watson, Master Sergeant Charles R. Watson, Jr. was one of five children: Bill, who served his country in the Coast Guard; Jeff, Charles, Greg, Brad, and one sister, Pamela. Initially choosing to continue his education at college and work part-time, Mr. Watson did not consider life in the military. However, at 18 years old, he received his letter from the United States government drafting him into active service. As draft number 9 in the country, Master Sergeant Watson knew he would soon be called and sent to one of the 5 branches requiring the most assistance. Most interested in air patrol and safety, Mr. Watson instead chose to determine his future and enlisted in the United States Air Force on March 1, 1972. With the Vietnam War plaguing the country, Mr. Watson entered active duty on March 22, 1972. Thankfully, he never received any harsh treatment for his service during the conflict. He said,
Vietnam was a tough time in the country. We had a lot of military members that were coming back and they were being treated poorly. Usually it was by those that probably do not respect the military member for what they get in return for that military member's service time. Members of the military go in, they want to serve their country, they want to be able to I'm going to say, to be a part of keeping the country free. I do believe that there are a lot of other countries that wish that they had a military force like we have, that's just full of patriots.
His first stop on a long road was basic training at the Air Force Entrance Examination Station in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. According to Master Sergeant Watson, basic training was
getting everybody on the same level. And it's not breaking you down or anything like that, like some people like to tell you. It's not like that at all. You get the haircuts and you get the same uniforms. They put you through the indoctrination, if you will, where you're getting shots, you're learning how to march, you're doing all of those things that will make you, a partner, I guess, with the other folks that are there. And that is what they want you to do. They want you to work together. It's a team effort. And that's pretty much basic training, bring you all to the same level.
After basic training, Mr. Watson traveled to Chanute Air Force Base in Illinois, where he studied to become a missile systems analyst. After an intensive 25 weeks of training, Mr. Watson then headed to K.I. Sawyer Air Force Base in Michigan, but was transferred to Keesler Air Force Base in Mississippi, where he assumed his duties. As a missile systems analyst, he worked with many aircraft, particularly the B-52 bomber, which was often equipped with the Hound Dog missile system. As part of his responsibilities, Mr. Watson was assigned to the flight line, where he helped to load the missiles onto the planes and verified that the equipment and controls of the plane functioned properly with the missile. Completing his job at Keesler Air Force Base, Master Sergeant Watson headed north to Maine and Loring Air Force Base. As a radio and aeronautical station operator there, he tracked military aircraft as they crossed the North Atlantic. After that, Master Sergeant Watson went to Griffiths Air Force Base, where he continued his work as a radio operator, helping to build flip kits for the crews. As Master Sergeant Watson recalls,
the crews would come in and pick up their kits, and the kits told them where they were going, how they were going to get there.
Following his service at Griffiths, Master Sergeant Watson went to Randolph Air Force Base in San Antonio, where he worked as a Mars station operator. However, after only a few years, he transferred to Billy Mitchell Field, located in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. There, he worked as a comm center operator, receiving and delivering teletype traffic, or messages, to the appropriate individuals. After working in Wisconsin, Master Sergeant Watson made one of the biggest moves in his military career, traveling out of the continental United States to Elmendorf Air Force Base in Alaska. Just as he had at Loring Air Force Base, Master Sergeant Watson worked as a radio operator, this time, however, tracking aircraft across the North Pacific. Additionally, he was recruited to work as the Non-Commissioned Officer in Charge, or NCOIC, within both the aeronautical and communications stations, providing training to new airmen who were arriving on the base. He continued in that capacity until his promotion to a radio operations person for the wing. According to Mr. Watson,
On Elmendorf, we actually had a squadron and we had a wing. And after the squadron, I was asked if I wanted to be the radio operations person for the wing, which I accepted. It was a step up. It's going into your management area, if you will. You're not just supervising people, but now you're in a management where equipment and things needs to be dealt with.
With a love for fishing and hunting, Elmendorf and the Kenai Peninsula quickly became home and a favorite assignment for the Master Sergeant. Unfortunately, his time there was short-lived and a new location awaited his arrival. Moving back to Keesler Air Force Base in Mississippi, Master Sergeant Watson began a 12-week cross-training stint to become a computer programmer, which opened up opportunities for growth and promotion. Putting his newfound instruction to use, he then went to the Falcon Air Force Base in Colorado Springs, where he worked diligently to integrate GPS technology with the current operations of the United States Air Force. Master Sergeant Watson's next and final destination was the Randolph Air Force Base, where he worked on Promise 2, an initiative to improve connectivity and effectiveness between departments. Finally, after 23 years of outstanding service to his country, 5 wars/conflicts, 10 Air Force bases, and numerous medals and commendations, including the Air Force Commendation Medal with 3 devices, the National Defense Medal with a Gold Star, the Air Force Good Conduct Medal with 6 silver devices, and 1 bronze, and the Meritorious Service Award. Mr. Watson decided to retire, concluding his career as a Master Sergeant, a title that makes him very proud.
When you're in leadership roles, you're looked up to by the younger troops. And so as a Master Sergeant, you move out of that supervisory skills and you move into the management of people. And that, by far, is a pretty prestigious place to be. You're part of the 3 top grades in the Air Force, enlisted grades.
prior to his discharge, he attended several training classes which are geared to help military men and women re-enter civilian life by helping them write resumes and practice interviews. Mr. Watson applauds these courses, saying,
These are good things for a military member because what you learn, in my case, in 23 years, I didn't interview for jobs. You know, the military selects you and they move you, and that's the way it works.
Although he did not originally plan on staying in the military for his entire career, he stated,
I just became so in love with the military and the way they did things that, there was structure. You could be focused, on the job that you're doing, and it was probably, those things that probably had me decide to make a career out of it.
Mr. Watson is not currently involved in any veterans organizations. However, he does still stay in contact with 2 friends from his service time, and he supports the work of the men and women who continue to defend our country. Believing that we, as Americans, can better help our troops, particularly those who come back from war zones with missing limbs or other injuries, he said,
They come back and, you can go downtown and there are veterans that are downtown sleeping on the streets. That shouldn't be that way. That's something that we just have to do better. And I don't know what the answer to that is either. How do you do it better? Because obviously everything has a cost. It's got a price tag on it. But there is never a time whenever a vet should not have a roof over their head, food in their stomach,
Throughout his many years of service, Master Sergeant Charles R. Watson, Jr. significantly contributed to the United States Air Force by faithfully performing his jobs during times of peace as well as times of conflict. Whether working as a computer programmer, radio operator, or communications center operator, he took each of his different duties in stride and worked relentlessly to keep men and women on the front line safe. Although his name may never be published in a textbook or make world news, Master Sergeant Charles R. Watson, Jr., like all veterans who have valiantly served the United States of America, deserves to be recognized for his service in the United States Air Force.